Strictly stories just going on and on. And we've just seen Amanda Abbington on GMB, Lorraine's show. Yeah. She's just been talking to Christine, and we're going to show a couple of clips. This is the clip where she talks about speaking out and why it's important and a toxic environment. Have a look at this.
I felt I had to speak up because I don't want people to be frightened of speaking out if they're being bullied or if they feel they're in a difficult situation or if they feel that they're not being heard. I do feel I have the right to say it wasn't... it was a toxic environment that I was in while I was rehearsing. It was inappropriate, it was mean, it was nasty, it was bullying, and I put up with it for 5 weeks. I've got texts to the producer on day 3 going, this is awful, he hates me, I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Awful. Ash, it's really upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah, what a heartbreaking interview, especially knowing the amount of threats that not only she's faced, but also her daughter, her son, her husband. Yeah, it's unacceptable, really, isn't it? You should be... There is obviously an ongoing investigation, so we will await what the BBC findings are, but nobody should come forward and face abuse on any side, but especially to... All she's really done is said, this is a toxic experience. Why would she get trolling for that?
Yeah, well, that's sadly... I mean, that's a good question, but you could apply that to so many people that have come forward for so many reasons and so many issues, can't you? Well, Nick, just before we come back to you, Nick, what's your take on this?
I've been really moved by this story and an interview which I don't think Amanda gave, someone else gave, if I can put in single quotes, victims, where when they were given the chance of the show, they were warned there's a dark culture at the heart of this show. I've been privileged to be associated with your show this morning for many, many years, and you interview vulnerable people, and I know the level to which you go to ensure that there are producers and there are trained counsellors there to help people along. I find it truly shocking that an organisation as august as the BBC, with a show that has been around for as long as it has, we now have a track record of complaints of this nature, and it would appear nothing was done. I watched Amanda's interview last night on the television, and it would appear from what she said, producers were aware of certain instances which have been denied by the other dancer, let me put that out there, and there were even phone calls made at the end of the week, according to Amanda, I'm sorry that you've endured this. Why wasn't something done? It's simply not good enough. And the Director-General of the BBC, Tim Davie, to say earlier this week, there is a line and we need to ensure that that line has not been crossed. Mr Davie, refer to some of your producers, refer to some of your contestants. The line has been crossed. What are you going to do?
Yeah, well, something needs to be done. I mean, this has affected her life to the point where she's actually scared to leave the house. This is what she said.
I go outside worrying because, you know, I had messages saying, watch your back, because you've just, you know, you're going after Giovanni. And I'm not. I just literally said, I'm not sure this is appropriate behaviour. Can we address it? That's all I did. And the onslaught that I've had for 8 months, relentless. You know, I'm off social media now and I don't really go out much. And when I do, I feel very vulnerable and very exposed.
Awful. So tough to watch. Like Nick said, as well as the interview last night.
We should have the right, though, to be able to call bad behaviour out, shouldn't we?
I think this also speaks volumes on a larger scale of why so many women don't come forward, because we do kind of have this culture of not believing the woman or, you know, putting victim blaming or insinuating that that woman's just vulnerable or can't hack it or is hysterical or whatever these outdated terms are that we use to women. And, you know, same as when Zara came out with her statement, she was scared to come out, and it wasn't her that ended up speaking up, it was someone else. She was scared to come out because of the victim blaming, and I think we have to allow people to speak up, because ultimately we all want workplaces to not be toxic. You know, it wouldn't be acceptable in any other environment for abuse or kicking of any kind.
Yeah. Nick, you spoke to a second ago about, you know, what the BBC should be doing. It's difficult for me. I've got mates that work on Strictly, and they're good people, and they're people that genuinely care passionately about their contestants. And, I mean, for what it's worth, I think there's just a level of autonomy given to these dancers, and Ali will back me up on this, that they're your choreographer, they're your mentor, they're your teacher, and I think there's a level of autonomy that obviously seems to have gone too far. What do you think they should be doing now, off the back of it? What action would you want to see?
Yours is a very good point. And let's just pause and detach ourselves from the hideous testimony that Amanda shared with us. And I'm not seeking to justify what might or might not have taken place, but these are professional athletes. And if you've ever been around professional sportsmen or sportswomen, they treat themselves in incredibly tough fashion. We're going to witness the Olympic Games, and the people who get to a tournament such as that, they don't do that by being soft on themselves. When they're hurting, they run even faster, they try and jump even higher, they swim even faster. So they put themselves through that pain barrier. What I think, and I get it, and it's the same with these professional dancers, it's extraordinary, their level of movement. Not for nothing have I never been asked to take part in Strictly Come Dancing. It is quite incredible what they can do, but they have to be aware that they're brushing up against ordinary citizens, if you will, somebody who does not want to go through the pain barrier, does not want to run faster when they're not feeling particularly well, does not want to run until they actually feel quite sick. So that is the rubbing point. You have professional athletes, because these dancers are, against regular folk who want to have the extraordinary experience of learning how to dance, which we see, let's be fair, many of the contestants say, this has been life-enhancing. This has been one of the best, apart from meeting my wife or husband or having children, this is one of the greatest moments of my life. So we've got to balance those two. I just think, Dermot, there has to be better monitoring. It comes down to that. And I know, funnily enough, a producer and a tremendous person. They'll be horrified at what's going on. So we just need better monitoring.
What would you like to see, Ashley, before we go?
Well, I'd like to see action being taken. Obviously, I'd like to see the results of the investigation. I'd also like for the women who have come forward to be believed and to not face abuse, and for their families not to face abuse. But yeah, I think things need to change. And as for, you know, athletes putting themselves, there's no doubt that obviously athletes are professionals and of course they push themselves. But I think some of the allegations that we've seen, it's like kicking, it's physical abuse, and I think that's never acceptable, even if you're an athlete. So, yeah, I think I love Strictly. I think it's an amazing family show.
I don't want to see it end or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think they need to put more boundaries in place to protect people. And like Amanda said, she just wanted to do a really fun reality show that she loved. So, you know, she didn't want this whole experience, but well done for her.
Absolutely, we send her all our love. The BBC have said anyone involved in the complaint has the right to confidentiality and a fair process, and therefore it would be inappropriate to comment further on individuals. However, when issues are raised with us, we always take them extremely seriously and have the appropriate processes in place to manage this. They also say the BBC and BBC Studios, who are the company that make Strictly, takes the duty of care extremely seriously. Our processes on Strictly are kept under constant review, and last week we announced additional steps to further strengthen welfare and support on the show.
Thanks to Lorraine for those clips as well. Hi, everyone. Just wanted to say thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. Now, listen, we upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.